Professional wrestling is an absolute joke. I am Omar Q with Real Take Wrestling. Guys, if you're just joining, be sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. We have a lot to talk about right now. I see there are already people in the chat who have left questions. Yeah. So the big question is, are you serious? Is this a joke? I'll tell you right off the bat, no, my friend, is not. I wish it was. I truly do, but I'll get to some of your chat questions later. Guys, again, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. But this has been reported it's been rumored by a lot of people tonight, and it has been reported by Stephen Mulhausen of DAZN Wrestling. WWE has sold to Saudi Arabia. I'm trying to find the words to say this. I'm sorry. We literally just did like a 2-hour podcast talking about Stephanie McMahon stepping down as CEO, and now I'm having to come on here and talk about this news. It's kind of jarring. So I apologize if it takes me a little bit to find my words, but I'm going to read out the report here. Stephen Mulhausen of DAZN Wrestling reported that WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. The company will now go back to being private. Currently unknown if Vince McMahon will return to head of creative, but it is expected by some people. That is the announcement, the tweet, the exact words of Stephen Mulhausen. Many others have chimed in on this. And a lot of reputable people. Cassidy Haynes was the first one to really discuss the news, saying that for what it's worth, I'm told the Saudi deal is done. We also heard Andrew Zarian said it's early morning in Saudi Arabia. If official news comes out tonight, expect it to be soon. WWE literally, not figuratively here, WWE literally took the king's shilling. If you were to ask me, give me a million scenarios of how a potential WWE sale would play out, this would never even register to being close to one of them. This is the most preposterous reality, and we're living in it. Vince McMahon, a month ago, was retired out of the company, and WWE looked to be doing some of the best business they had ever done. WWE seemed to be in some of the best stories they've ever done, and now we are looking at a time. We're living in a time, I should say, where not only did Vince McMahon, this all happens in 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, Vince McMahon forces his way back into the company, makes the proclamation that the company is going to sell. Stephanie McMahon just a few hours ago stepped down as CEO of WWE, left those duties to Nick Khan, and now the news of Saudi Arabia buying WWE. I always said, ever since the news of a WWE sale came out, I always said that there was always going to be a likelihood that Saudi Arabia was going to be a top bidder. I thought behind NBC Universal, they were the top bidder because at the end of the day, they had the most money to offer to this company. If they wanted to throw down $15 billion for WWE, they could have done it. This is the Saudi Public Investment Fund has over $600 billion to work with. They were going to make the money work. It was just a matter of how much did they truly value WWE and how much did they want it. We don't know the exact number as of right now. However, expect it to be big. UFC, for reference, sold in 2016 for, I believe, in the ballpark of $4 billion. I actually think it was right around $4 billion. WWE will likely go for much, much more. I always talked about the range for them being between $5 to $10 billion. And this is absolutely just crazy. Absolutely just crazy. And there's so much to talk about here. Like, I will get to all of your questions in a second, but there's so much to talk about here. There is the fact that not only is Saudi Arabia, a foreign entity, buying foreign to the United States, I should say, buying this company, and we've known that they've been running some propagandic shows with this company, but they're buying this company. They're taking it private. A publicly traded company is going private. So all of the stuff that we were accustomed to, the reporting, the SEC violations, all that stuff potentially could go away. And on top of that, they don't have to report anything if they're a private company. They don't really have to report much if they're a private company. I don't want to understate how big of a deal this is. Cassidy Haynes earlier on tonight, by the way, great reporting from Cassidy Haynes, great reporting from Stephen Mulhausen and everyone else who was on this. Cassidy Haynes said that if this is true, it is the biggest story in the history of wrestling. And yes, bigger than Vince McMahon retiring. For me, 6 months ago, originally was the biggest story in the history of wrestling. Nothing could ever touch that. This breaks it. This absolutely breaks the scale, breaks everything. I cannot believe that we're actually legitimately talking about this. And this soon, the news of the WWE was even, that they were seriously looking to sell, didn't even break until like 2 weeks ago. MGT, I know you're in the chat asking how much did they sell for. As of this recording, I don't know. That news is not out. Saudi Arabia has not even released an official press release. However, look for that to happen sometime in the next few hours. But this is absolutely jarring. Absolutely jarring. I mean, the other aspect we have to discuss here is the superstars. How is this going to affect superstars and their relation with this company? Someone like Sami Zayn, for example, and Kevin Owens as well, but Sami Zayn, who has been outspoken, very critical of the Saudi government, who has been very outspoken about their human rights violations, who has been very outspoken about the way they do business and these propagandic shows that the Saudi government puts on with WWE, who is so much so where he doesn't even go to the shows. How is that going to affect him? How is that going to affect other people? I know that people have questions about how it's going to affect women's wrestling and things like that. I'll go into it a little deeper later on, but I don't think that things like that are necessarily going to be changing as long as they happen within the United States. Saudi Arabia is invested in a lot of things that internationally that don't necessarily align with their domestic views and their domestic laws. For example, they also own football teams in England that have beer sponsors. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're endorsing it or not, but they are in business with that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here, but the biggest story in the history of wrestling, you're damn right it is. Let me know what you guys think, though. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. I'm still in disbelief. I know we have a whole bunch of chats, guys. I'll try to get through them. Thomas Scott, good old Thomas Scott, opens us up by saying, well, there goes Sami Zayn and anybody in the LGBTQIA community on the roster. I see wrestlers walking out because of this. I'm not sure if I see wrestlers walking out if this is true, but I could 100% see I could 100% see some wrestlers demanding their release. And again, if he wants to, or if they want to, or if he wants to, specifically Sami Zayn, in my opinion, we would think would be at the top of the list. But again, it's all dependent on what he wants, right? Duber says, what will happen to Bayley? I don't believe much is going to change with the Divas division as long as they're not on Saudi soil. I think that's the big stickler for them. Because again, they do business with with several companies that don't necessarily align with their values domestically, but as long as that stuff is internationally, they don't seem to have a problem with it. Thomas Scott says, I'm not kidding when I say I think wrestlers and employees are going to walk because this and Vince knew this and is why they will go private and not lose stock. I mean, here's the thing. One thing's for sure. When the heads of the companies, they're now one of the former heads of the company, Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, Triple H, had that all employee call, and they said that there were going to be no more changes. That was a damn lie. Now we just know. I mean, it's not. We can confirm. If one thing's for sure, it's that was a damn lie. Because that is just false. That is false. Now, as far as what this means for WWE in the future, I'm your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I don't see much changing in that things are going to be more restrictive. However, I do believe that depending on who they have on top in creative, it could be a big deal. We got Thomas Scott saying the Saudis still think Ultimate Warrior and Yokozuna are still alive. They love Goldberg. I mean, yes. Well, here's the thing. You can get away with having incompetent ownership, who don't know about the product, who don't know about anything, as long as you have people who are somewhat knowledgeable about the product actually running the day-to-day. I don't think you'll have that much of an oversight. But that is true. Saudi Arabia, for the first Saudi show, did request the Ultimate Warrior and Yokozuna, both of whom were dead at that point. Ultimate Warrior passed away 4 years prior, and Yokozuna had passed away like 15 years prior or something. Actually, not even 15, 17 years prior. So, we got MGT saying, is this real? Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. Unbelievable. Them going private might be good. Let's relax to what's going to happen to Sami Zayn. We'll see. We'll see. However, I know, again, we will see. I'm not going to speculate on his future right now because, one, the biggest story ever. I'm going to speculate on this. But at the same time, I truly do believe that there are going to be people who... There are definitely going to be people who rethink their position with the company. I think that much is true. You will definitely see people who are taking a long, hard look at whether or not they still want to be employed by WWE. Let's go through some of these chats. Guys, by the way, if you haven't already done so, please hit that like button, smash it, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We got Ryan Woodridge in the chat, a Real Take Original. Good to see you as always, Ryan. Hi, bro. I'm sore from snowmobiling. I hit a dip and fell off the back of the machine. I am fine, but sore. I'm so sorry to hear that, Ryan. Jeez. Oh, I hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're feeling better. Ice up, rest up, and take care of yourself. Ryan also says, hi, bro. WWE should have sold to the NFL. I mean... You don't want to talk about incompetent ownership. Look no further than the National Football League, but I don't think it could ever sell to the NFL as an entity. I always said this. The top three for me were number 1, NBC, number 2, Saudi, number 3, Disney. Those are the top three in contention. I'm not going to lie. Number 2 in Saudi Arabia was always the one where I was like, I really hope it's not that one if they actually do sell. I really hope it's not that one. Unfortunately... It appears like that is the case. Again, for those of you who are just joining, first of all, welcome. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that jazz. Multiple people have speculated on this. Cassidy Haynes basically said, quote, for what it's worth, I'm told the Saudi deal is done and they're taking the company private. That was then followed up by Stephen Mulhausen, who tweeted this out, quote, and again, Cassidy Haynes, one of the most reputable people in the entire wrestling reporting business over at bodyslam.net. He's been on top of a lot of great stories, including the CM Punk story. Stephen Mulhausen, as well of Dawson Wrestling, said the following. WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. For those of you wondering, that is their like global investment, government-funded investment firm, basically. Went on to say the company will go back to being private. Unknown if Vince McMahon will return to head of creative, but it's expected by some people. Really hope he doesn't. And I really hope that that isn't the case. But wow. By the way, this has nothing to do with this story, but big shout out to Alex, aka Queen of the Ring. Go follow her at Queen of the Ring. One of the best at covering Joshi wrestling and in Japan. Big shout out. Yeah. Big yikes here. Let me go through some of your chats, guys. Please keep leaving them. I'm sorry. There's a lot here. There's a lot here that I'm trying to also digest. I'm reading updates. I'm reading looking for reports. As of right now, I see that one of you has asked for proof. John Spencer says, "Where's the proof?" So the proof is in multiple credible wrestling journalists who have said it. Stephen Mulhausen has said it and reported it. Cassidy Haynes has said it and said that is what it looks like and that is what's happening. And right now it looks like it's morning in Saudi Arabia. If they're going to announce it, it's going to be soon. If they're going to announce it officially and give a press release and all that, it's going to be sometime very, very soon. So that's why I felt comfortable going live here and with this and going live with this. Just so you know, for full disclosure, I did for full disclosure, my intention was to wait on this until I saw someone credible tweet it out and go on source. And it seems like that's what Stephen Mulhausen did. Cassidy Haynes also did say this. And at that point, I made the decision that this was big enough for me to talk about. I had the time. That's the other thing. And I wanted to talk about it with you guys because we literally said it. I promised that if something big goes up, then I would... if something big happens, then I would come back on a stream. But John Spencer says, yeah, that's right. Acknowledge me. Of course. I acknowledge everyone. Actually, no, I only acknowledge our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Thomas Armstrong said, how long do you think it'll take for Hunter to leave, if at all? There's no way of knowing until we hear it officially. If Vince is back in charge of creative, I cannot possibly, probably... here's what I'll say. If Vince is back in charge of creative, I don't think Hunter's going to be with the company. Martin Vasquez says, so no more Friday Night Wrestling on Fox? No. First of all, they have a deal that goes until next year. However, Saudi Arabia, here's the thing. Just because Saudi Arabia is buying the company doesn't mean much is going to change in that in the rights and all that negotiating stuff. All that stuff is going to be the same. The business stuff is going to be the same. The content is going to depend on who's actually in charge. If it's still Triple H, don't expect much to change. But the bigger question, honestly, with WWE right now, is the morality of all this. It really comes down to the morality of all this. And also with Saudi Arabia buying WWE, how much more do they lean into the propagandic vision that the Saudi government tries to put out there of the Saudi Vision 2030 and all that kind of stuff? It is, yeah, it's bad. it is a question, and again, full disclosure here, guys, because I've said this multiple times. I always said this is the one company that if they legitimately sold to, I have to rethink the way I cover WWE specifically. Genuinely have to rethink the way I cover WWE. Because at that point, it becomes my own personal morals. And again, I don't expect everyone to understand it. But given my background, given how I grew up and my own beliefs, I do have a problem if WWE does lean in even more to the to making the Saudi government specifically seem like a just, fair government, which they just fundamentally are not. But yeah, Marshmallow said, "Yep, it's officially sold." MGT says, "Should we be surprised that Stephanie left?" At this point, no. At this point, no. We should not. MGT said, "People are overreacting, thinking a lot will change." Well, again, I don't think a lot will change initially, at least. Hello. It all depends on who's actually in charge of the company. Because if they announce it and it's Vince McMahon who is in charge of the company, or in charge of creative, I should say, a lot's going to change. MGT, a lot's going to change. MGT says, so the mouse couldn't be in one, but not the E. LOL. Okay. Again, sorry guys if I have any pauses, but I am also like, I'm also kind of refreshing and looking at news as it comes in. So if I do pause for a little bit, then that's what I'm doing. Yeah, and man, this is massive news. Again, at the same time, guys, remember, I'm a fan too. So at the same time as I'm telling you about this and sharing my thoughts, I'm also trying to process all of this, and it's just mind-blowing. This is absolutely mind-blowing. For those of you who are wondering, right, I sent this news to Trevor, who's my co-host on OT Graps. I sent it to him, and he said, he didn't say duck, but he said, duck a damn duck. This shiznit has been, my shiznit has been lost. It's official. So yeah. It is, we live in a society where WWE is owned by Saudi Arabia. I'm gonna go through some more of your chats here, guys. Cody says private is good, but not to them. They will nix women's wrestling. I don't think that's gonna happen. If it does happen, like, it will be it will make this crazy story even crazier. However, I don't foresee that happening. Again, for the reasons I've said before, I just think Saudi Arabia's whole thing is they don't want it done in kind of their house, or they don't want certain things done in their house. They let women's wrestling happen, but obviously with restrictions. But we'll see, man. Thomas in the chat says, if it's true that Stephanie left because she told Vince not to sell, then that's good on her. I mean, yeah, I don't know about that. I haven't seen that, but if it is what it is, then we'll see. Thomas Armstrong said, Ronaldo versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. Well, yeah, I forgot. That's not the only acquisition that Saudi Arabia made this past week, because they got Ronaldo too. Blazy in the chat says, hopefully Saudi Arabia will make WWE great again. No comment on that, bud. We got Thomas in the chat saying, when do you think WWE will publicly announce this? I think Saudi Arabia would be the ones to publicly announce this, and I think if they were to announce it, it would be sometime very soon. But at this point, I think by tomorrow morning, we'll know one way or another. That's gut feeling on that one. So we'll see. Again, let me just refresh and see what I'm missing here. Also, I mean, I know there are a lot of people out there who are saying like, oh, this is a big victory for AEW. And okay, if you think like that, whatever. This is a massive L for professional wrestling, like, if we're being totally honest. Because WWE, for better or worse, whether or not you like the product, whether or not you supported the product, whether or not you were big into what Triple H was changing or not, it's just totally a bad look, morally, image-wise, and everything else, because I've already said everything I was gonna say about it. Like, I don't want this to be the whole, oh, let me bury Saudi Arabia, but like, I mean, it's what it is. It's we know the Saudi Arabian government's human rights record, and we know what they've done, and yeah. And again, I legitimately think this. I'm not gonna say like one superstar is going to leave or whatever. There will be legitimate thought given, I think, by many superstars and many talent about whether or not they want to stay with the company. There will definitely be people who give it a thought. My guess is you will see maybe one or two ask for their release. Thomas in the chat says, "Who let Vince cook? He burnt." I mean, he burnt that, but at the same time, he's made a bag. Like Thomas H in the chat just said, Vince is now a very, very rich man. He was already a very, very, very rich man. Now he's a very, 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 very to the second power rich man. Ryan in the chat is asking, Ryan Woodridge, a good friend of the show. Ryan Woodridge in the chat is asking, hi, bro, what is Triple H's role? As of right now, here's the thing. Stephanie McMahon's press release that came out earlier today said that Triple H is still going to remain on as Chief Content Officer. Not sure what that means right now. But you would think that he would be staying on, but given the fact that WWE hasn't even known what they've or hasn't even been telling the truth to their own employees over the past few days, who knows? Ryan Woodridge also says, do you think WWE sold for $100 billion? I don't believe they sold for no. Yeah, you have NFL teams aren't even selling for $100 billion. I always said my guess was it was going to be in the range of $5 to $10 billion. I would go the higher end because I think WWE right now is worth more than they've ever been worth. I would probably go to the around $8 billion to $10 billion realm, but who knows? John C in the chat says, what's the source of this news? Is it credible? Yeah. So Cassidy Haynes of bodyslam.net, again, great guy who has gotten a lot of stuff right. One of the best in the business said, for what it's worth, I'm told the Saudi deal is done and they're taking the company private. That was the first domino to fall. Then Stephen Mulhausen of Dawson Wrestling said the following: WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. The company will go back to being private. Unknown if Vince McMahon will return to head of creative, but it is expected by some people. And look, this is not me trying to be tribal and fan those flames of division and blah, blah, blah. Here's what I will say. Tony Khan on Twitter tomorrow is going to be something to watch. Dynamite tomorrow night is going to be something to watch because, one, it's already a big show in that it's the LA Kia Forum show. But even bigger than that, AEW's got a chance. Like, what are the odds? Like, this news comes out and the next big wrestling show is going to be Dynamite at that stage in the Kia Forum. If Max Caster is on tomorrow's show, hey Mo, let's go. I want to hear that. I want to hear his rap. It's gonna be really funny. But again, man, it's wild. Peter says Vince gives no F's whatsoever. Vince gives no F's whatsoever. Performers are hitting. He didn't say hitting. Bricks right now. It's something. Peter says, what's going to happen with Sammy? He has refused to go to Saudi, so I'm going to say he's done with WWE. Like I said, I think there are going to be a lot of talent who really think deeply about this and their future with WWE. I think Sami Zayn is going to be at the top of the list, in my opinion. You would think, at least. We got Chris in the chat saying, when it says Saudi, who do you mean? The prince, the government, like who actually in Saudi? Oh, great question. Again, so the Saudi Public Investment Fund, for those of you who are not aware, it is basically this government fund that the Saudi Arabia has for investment in international investment. So they take the government's money and they invest it in different things internationally. They obviously invested a lot of money in taking golfers away from the PGA Tour and starting up Live Golf. They made a big. I think they played a big part in Ronaldo coming over and playing in the Saudi Arabian League. They also own. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm also refreshing here. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm reading one report. I apologize for that. Let me just. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so they own Live Golf. They help bring Ronaldo in. This fund was also the one that purchased Newcastle United in UEFA. They have made a whole host of international investments, and this is just another investment. Or at least this would be another investment for the Public Investment Fund, which again, on behalf of the Saudi government, invests in things internationally to use that money to make a buck, I guess. Yep, and yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm like reading some stuff, and it's just wildness. I mean, yeah. All right. I do want to reiterate this. Sean Ross Abbott says, again, nobody in WWE has confirmed this. Some have even said they don't believe it, but where there's this much smoke, there's a lot of fire. There's got to be a fire. Anthony Bowens just tweeted, "That's right, acclaimed every Wednesday." Oh no. Brandon Walker tweeted AEW. Oh God. Oh my God. AEW social media team must be having a time of their life right now. Oh wow, Jimmy Van of Fightful actually made a really good point here. He said on Twitter, here's a little tidbit. Live Golf, which again is the golf league that the Saudi Arabian government owns. They brought in a lot of ex-PGA golfers in. They tried to make a big play for Tiger Woods. That didn't work. It says Live Golf, which launched last year, funded by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, was unable to secure a U.S. media rights deal for its inaugural season despite all the big names attached. It is going to be interesting to see what happens there, because that is something that I am now thinking about, because that was true. One of the big controversies with Live Golf was their association and the proximity to the Saudi government. And I think it is different in this sense, right? Live Golf was an entirely new entity that had very little to no real they had nothing concrete to offer as far as ratings, as far as endorsements or anything. What WWE instead has to offer, which is why I think they won't run in. They might run into some hurdles along the way PR wise, but I don't think they'll run into the same hurdles as far as finding new deals. Is that WWE for 30 plus years has been same time, same week on television. They're an institution. Raw is an institution on American television. SmackDown is an institution on American television, and it draws ratings. It does the best. It does the best in their time slot. Like they're gonna get a deal. I like at that point. I think for a lot of these companies, morality goes out the window, and it's just a case of it's a good deal, and we're going to take it. So that is what it is, man. I'm so sorry. I'm again trying to process this while at the same time trying to provide you guys with the updates as well. By the way, guys, if you're just joining us, be sure to do me a big favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. JS in the chat says, good time to switch to AEW. No Lara in the chat, welcome back, No, says, you know what? I'm done with WWE. I'm freaking done with WWE. There's a lot of people feel, man. Ryan asks a question. Says, what is the status of Randy Orton's injury and Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes is expected to be back by the Rumble. They're doing the whole documenting his return thing on Raw. He's going to be back at the Rumble. And as far as Randy Orton is, it does not look like he's going to be back anytime soon. It seems like his back injury was a bit more severe than they originally first thought. John Jones, hopefully not that one, is in the chat, says Cody Rhodes is fine. Oh, you're answering that question. Cool. MGT says, I'll still watch WWE. No, I mean, look, here's the thing. I'm not going to fault you for watching pro wrestling that you like. Like, that's the thing. I can't fault someone else for watching pro wrestling they like. It's just, if I choose not to watch WWE in the future, it is that's going to be a personal thing for me. But we'll see what ends up happening. Peter says Paul effect AEW confirmed. Do you guys see? I don't know if you guys saw Stephanie McMahon's thing, like her goodbye note on Twitter. When she names her husband, when she names Triple H, she was like, I know that Nick Khan and Paul Triple H in quotation marks Levesque are gonna do great. I'm like, Paul Triple H Levesque in an official like letterhead. That's hilarious. Yeah, wow. Absolutely bonkers. This news is absolutely bonkers. Whoo-wee. I'm sorry, guys. This is just okay. We'll just I'll just go through some of your questions. If you guys have any more, definitely put them in. MGT says, Omer, it's totally fine if you choose not to watch them. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I probably would have stopped watching anyway if Vince was in charge. If Vince is back in creative, I'll probably stop watching anyway because it's going to be dog poop. Yeah. Me oh my oh meow, guys. This is heavy. This is heavy stuff. I mean, even if I put this in like even if I put this in a more historical context, I mean, like legitimately, we have never been in this space in pro wrestling, right? Where WWE, which is the biggest company in the history of pro wrestling, we have never been in a place where that hasn't been owned by the McMahon family. Whether it was Jesse McMahon in the 50s or when it was Capital Wrestling, or Vince McMahon Sr. when it was the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, or Vince when it was WWF and WWE. We have never been in a place where someone outside of or outside of Vince's family has been running and owned and operated this company. And now we're living not only in a time where that it's not even like it's going over to a different family or it's going over to a different business. Man, this is going over, in weirdly enough, to something that's basically an arm of the Saudi government. And it's so strange to think, right? It's so strange to try to like process that and really understand what that means. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to like. I don't even know. Like here's the thing. Me and Trevor earlier today. By the way, guys, I mean it's totally outdated. we did a podcast at 8 p.m. today that is now totally outdated. So go check that out if you want some good banter and talk. But like we're living in a time where Trevor and I can do a podcast on this channel like an hour ago. And I can be sitting here right now doing another podcast and just and everything I said an hour ago is completely irrelevant. It's wild. No Laro, it's basically, yeah, same. Never thought I would see this day. And I'm not trying to be like, this is not me getting emotional or anything like that, guys. This is me like just legitimately trying to process this as I'm live with you guys. I mean, it is just nutty. And don't discount things like we're back. Don't discount things like I mean, Thomas Scott, you just tweeted at me. Thank you for that. Saying that recent events and rumors have me reminiscing about the time that Saudi Arabia held up the WWE roster or held the WWE roster hostage because Vince McMahon owed the prince money and refused to pay it. That is true. And there are a lot of superstars who are in WWE right now who are on that flight and who were not happy when that stuff went down. I didn't even think about that. Thank you for adding to the content here, Tom. Wow. That is a very good point. I mean, yeah, like if I was on that plane, I'd be pissed. We got Thomas Armstrong in the chat saying this brings a whole new meaning to wrestling has more than one royal family. Oh no. That's a really good one. That's a really good one. Oh no. Oh my goodness, guys. Wayne in chat says I'm a huge fan of WWE. Daniel immediately after that said WWE is dead. Oh man. Wayne says in the chat, MGT, I hope he doesn't remove Triple H as head of creative. I hope he won't release superstars again like last time. I don't know if like budget cut superstar releases are going to be as much of a thing, but there's going to be a lot of talent that are going to look at that and be like, I don't know if I want to be associated with this, especially when you have a legitimate alternative out there in AEW that is offering contracts and now that has another show that they can put you on. And regardless, you're going to get paid. So, holy gosh, wow. By the way, guys, continue to hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm going to stay on for as long as this news keeps piling in. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to put a time on this just yet, but it is crazy. My boy Ango, God bless you, Ango, out there doing the Lord's work, saying on Twitter, saying WWE NXT was really good tonight. It's a shame the attention wasn't on that tonight. I mean, yeah, I guess it was a shame, but do you blame the people? Like, this is the biggest news in the history of wrestling. Just utterly massive, just utterly massive news. This is, oh my God, there's so many. Oh God, God bless OSW review for saying, wow. This is it. I'm laughing at how ridiculous this is, by the way, but I'm gonna share this because this is absolutely ridiculous and. But yeah, I mean, it's just OSW just tweeted out a picture of Saudi Hogan saying "Fight for the rights of only men." Yeah, well, that's how you put Hulk Hogan. That's also how you can put the government of Saudi Arabia. But this is bad. This is crazy, nuts. Oh wow, there are a lot of spicy tweets out there about this that I'm not going to mention or go into too much detail on. MGT says poor Ango. Oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. By the way, go subscribe to Ango's channel as well. YouTube.com/ANGOYT. And Ango was his name-o. We got Keith and Day Wrestling Show saying, how long before WWE starts to go downhill? Buddy, where were you in 2017? I mean, I don't know. WWE's creative direction really depends on. It really depends on who's in charge of creative. I've repeatedly said that, and I will continue to say that. MGT in the chat says AEW is bloated as it is. If there are great talent out there, my rule is you sign great talent, you will find ways to use them. If it takes adding another show for AEW, if it takes making a Rampage 2 hours and changing the time, and that's what you got to do. Trevor Sutton says, see when I'm not on the podcast. See what happens when I'm not on the podcast? I mean, yeah. Nuts. This is absolutely, utterly insane. I'm just gonna, I think we're gonna wrap at 11:30 unless like the actual press release or whatever comes out, but we will see. Or if, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, Dawson. But for those of you who are just joining, Dawson and Body Slam, Stephen Mulhausen and Cassidy Haynes have both said that WWE has been sold to the Saudi Public Investment Fund. They're taking the company private. Whew. Massive story, guys. I cannot undersell this. MGT's like, things are crazy. MGT, poor MGT was like on a stream and just saying like, hey, it's okay, man. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. And now he's just like, oh, things might not be okay. Ryan Woodard's in the chat asked me a football-related question. By the way, guys, if you're a football fan, be sure to go over to youtube.com/RealTakeSports for all your sports-related needs. We're going to be doing streams of the NFL playoffs all weekend long. So go over to youtube.com/RealTakeSports. Subscribe over there, and yeah, have fun. But thoughts on the Packers game, here's what I will say. I actually made a video on youtube.com/RealTakeSports talking about this and Aaron Rodgers' future, but that probably was Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Green Bay Packer. That I legitimately believe that, and I don't think there's any better way to go out than as a than throwing an interception just like Brett Favre did right to your last play as a Packer. So yeah, crazy stuff. By the way, guys, remember if you are thinking about, if you are thinking legitimately about stop watching WWE because of moral reasons, and you're looking for other wrestling to watch, just know that there's a whole host of stuff out there outside of just AEW. You have Impact Wrestling, who put on great shows and great wrestling matches. You have GCW, who's like an underground juggernaut right now. Ring of Honor, which I know people associate with AEW, but they're going to be on Honor Club, and they're going to put on some great shows. MLW does a lot of great work as well. There's Stardom. There's Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, New Japan, obviously. Like, there is so much wrestling out there that even if you stop watching pro wrestling, you definitely can you definitely can find something to watch that you'll enjoy. And remember, at the end of the day, it's not about a company. It's not about, a brand or whatever. It's always about following your favorite pro wrestlers, following your favorite pro wrestling, and following your heart in that sense, guys. I mean, sometimes they just align with one company, but it doesn't mean one company that doesn't mean one company needs to be like what you stand by, right? We got Trevor in the chat saying, I will definitely keep watching my indies. Definitely do that. Indie guru over there, Trevor. Liam says, WCW, TNA, now WWE. I mean, is TNA dead? Does Impact? I guess TNA is dead. It's a dead brand, but Impact lives, man. Impact lives. Yeah. Crazy stuff, guys. I am bewildered at the amount of stuff coming out about this. By the way, guys, this is great. Hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Whew. I mean, this news is not great. I'm just saying, being here with you guys and you guys helping me process this along the way, and hopefully me helping you process it along the way, hopefully, is definitely good. You got Marco and Jet joining the chat, saying, is this true? Will it be the same? It is true. It seems both Dawson's, Stephen Mulhausen, and Cassidy Haynes of Body Slam did say this. Liam in the chat says, I haven't watched TNA in years, mate. Haven't watched it after Hogan Bischoff. That is the... If there's a point to stop watching TNA, it is that. Like, just stop. No more. Humanoid said, may it burn to the ground. Okay. I mean, I hope not. Like, here's the thing. People always say, like, oh, one company needs to go out of business or whatever. I'm like, no, we need more. We shouldn't want companies to go out of business. We should want more wrestling companies to get bigger. And if WWE would go out of business, there'd be less places for wrestlers to work, and it would just cause the same problem all over again with maybe one company having more say. T Wayne in the chat says, I'm heartbroken for Sami Zayn. We were all on the roller coaster, something big, and now we don't know, guys. Remember this. We don't know what's going to happen with Sami Zayn. We don't know what's going to happen with any of this stuff. It is just all conjecture and reckless speculation as far as the talent goes. But it looks like the Saudi deal is real, and it's happening. Nolara said, Vince doomed the Sami story already. Ah, man. Daniel in the chat says, AEW will get more viewers now. I might watch AEW again. It's been sucking too. AEW, okay, here's the thing. I definitely enjoy AEW the past few weeks way more than I have in a very long time. Dynamite, I should say. Like, ever since they got the ROH stuff off, I think it's been a much better presentation. Last week was one of their best shows in a while. I imagine tomorrow's show, not only because it's going to be at the Kia Forum in LA, and that's one of their biggest shows of the year, but I imagine tomorrow's show they're going to want to come out guns a-blazing for this. And yeah, Tony Khan, I'm sure he has, he's going to pull out the big guns for tomorrow night. They're going to put on a good show. You would think, at least. Oh, man, guys. What a tangled web we've woven here. I mean, I genuinely cannot believe that I am sitting here at my time, 11:30, talking to you guys about this. This is nuts. Absolutely nuts. But again, guys, do me a big time favor if you haven't already done so. This really helps out the channel. It helps you guys stay updated. Please hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We cover wrestling, AEW, WWE, and all the news around that. I go live for the WWE pay-per-views, although I'm not sure what the future of that's going to be after today. And you know, I do a lot of coverage and things like that. Wrestling with Omer on Mondays. OT Graps with my boy Trevor, who's in the chat, on Tuesdays. And a lot of other stuff in between. In between. Oh, man. MGT says, stop overreacting saying the women's division. I do think it's an overreaction to say the women's division is going to die. That being said, there's always a chance that there could be changes. I don't think Saudi Arabia really cares as long as it's not happening in their country. I don't think the government cares or anything like that as long as it's not happening in their country. No Lara in the chat says, today, the day that Vince killed WWE wrestling. Well, Vince tried to kill wrestling a long time ago. As far as WWE, God, I have to pull it up. I have to pull it up. Oh, man. Let me see. Let me see if I can actually find this. Let's see. Can we do this? Is this a thing we can do? No? Oh, hold up, guys. But yeah, speaking of Vince killing WWE.
I'm going to inject the WWF with a lethal dose of poison. If anybody's gonna kill my creation, I'm gonna do it.
Well, there you go. That was in 2002, and just about 21 years later, it has all come to fruition. Wow. Yeah, I don't know what more I could say. I think that pretty much rounds us out, guys. I'll go through and read the last few chats here. MGT says don't start. I'm sorry, it was too. Come on, that was too good. Too good not to. Thomas in the chat says, imagine returns for the people who bet and this would happen. Yeah, there were bets being taken about this. By the way, all bets that were actually being taken, like official gambling bets that were being taken by sports books over who would buy WWE, they've all been pulled. So even more indication that this is a done deal. Liam in the chat says, WWE matches have been a lot better under Triple H, and under Vince, it was the same match every week. It was. Thomas says, I can't wait for the 50-man Royal Rumble. Oh, God, that was atrocious, wasn't it? The greatest Royal Rumble. Braun Strowman won a green belt. And a trophy he never carried around. Or no, it got broken on Raw or something, right? Mosey isn't saying poor Triple H, poor Sammy. I mean, there's no reason to think that Triple H is out just yet. There's no reason. I mean, Sammy. Okay, here's the thing. I don't think Sami Zayn would even want you to say prayers for Sami Zayn. I mean, generally, yes, prayers for everyone who's cool, like Sami Zayn. But I mean, Sami Zayn is one of those people. Hypothetically, if he were to want out and get his release, he would not be out of work for long. So I think that's fine on that respect. Lara says, Cody, yes, hello. Says, Cody, yes, hello. Kenny, can I come home back home? Who was it? Was it Thomas who said this? Thomas, I think it was Thomas Armstrong who said this in the chat. By the way, thank you for Thomas Armstrong. That might have been the biggest pop of the night for me when you said, this brings a whole new meaning to wrestling has more than one royal family. My God, that was such a good line, Thomas. So many reports, guys. So many reports are coming in. Javier says Sammy would be a huge upgrade to AEW. He would be. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. One thing I do know is going to happen is that we are going to be covering this for as long as it's out there. Guys, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We'll have this story covered. We're going to be covering Dynamite tomorrow. We're going to be covering all the latest news and notes from pro wrestling. I'll leave the stream up for a little bit so you guys can do your little banter back and forth. But the day that we never thought would come is here. Stephanie McMahon leaves WWE, resigns as CEO, and then mere hours later we hear the news of Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Public Investment Fund buying WWE. A new era is upon us, and I don't know what to think. But we'll see. Until next time, thank you everyone who's joined. Thomas, other Thomas, other Thomas, MGT, just everyone, no Lara, Trevor, of course. Go follow Trevor, by the way, at TREVERTAINMENT on Twitter. Daniel, everybody. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting a name or two. Obviously, good old Ryan Woodridge. We always love to have you. By the way, go over to Real Take Sports for your sports related questions. You know where to go. But yeah, until next time, everyone, be happy, be healthy, and keep it real. Wow.